we're back again. And plot twist, I'm loud now. I can speak louder because no one's home. So my pitiful setup can be fully utilised by speaking at a conversational volume. So, we're back. Dear Esther, I had a little look into the game because I kind of felt a bit bad going into it, not actually knowing too much about it. But to be fair though, what I did have a cheeky look at the plot summary. Only the first half. I know everything I was saying in the first episode was right. It is very much a walking sim, which is really cool. And in fact, according to the Wikipedia, although Wikipedia isn't always a fully trustable source, it does have some good sources linked to it. Either way, yeah, it's just a walking sim, but also kind of like a pioneer of the walking sim. Also links back to Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, which I hope to play soon. It might be a little while, just because, money, capitalism, that kind of stuff. Anywho, well, we're back with Chapter 3. No, Chapter 2. Chapter 3's later. This is Chapter 2. In we go. I think he was talking, so I will be quiet while it loads.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services, but although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
I think what's kind of fun about playing this game is, because the Chinese room is, I think, UK-based. It is UK-based, as far as I'm aware. It's just really fun hearing things like the M5 and Wolverhampton got referenced last time. But it's really fun just as someone who lives in the UK and who is often kind of aware of the fact that not everyone knows, the true dull nature of the UK motorways. But once again, we have two paths. I'm kind of tempted to go left first and then double back. But this seems pretty final unless there's a way up. We've gone the opposite direction, I believe, to the big scary tower. But we'll go left first and we'll just see where it takes us. There's boats. Yeah, I'm louder now, because no one's home. Yeah, it's a lovely sunny day where I am. Highs of 25 today, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. Oh, it's there! There it is! So not completely cut off from civilization. So I'm assuming that left was okay. But kind of what we've experienced so far, especially in Chapter 1, all paths lead to where you're supposed to go anyway. But no, even though this game is quite old by now, it is quite nice sort of seeing the older graphics. But oh, look at all that rain and the mist. It's so cool. Oh, there's a little light up boy. Yeah, I do love this kind of, the dank kind of countryside. It feels like it should be really dreary, but it's not. It's just kind of...
All night the boy has kept me lucid. I sat, when I was at the very edge of despair, when I thought I would never unlock the secret of the island, I sat at the edge and I watched the idiot boy blink through the night. He's mute and he's retarded, and he has no thought in his metal head but to blink each wave and each minute aside until the morning comes and renders him blind as well as deaf-mute. In many ways, we have much in common.
I think it's really interesting now, kind of seeing his bitterness come through. Like, we didn't really notice it in, the first chapter, how bitter he really kind of feels. And there's definitely, the anger kind of brewing under the surface. what's happened and everything. But I feel like that's like sort of like a bitter acceptance in a way, especially because of how like we know that he's now dealing with this grief and he's kind of going on this like grand pilgrimage to get here now. And it's just like the use of like environmental storytelling to just sort of create a sense of the island, as well as like add more depth to our narrator as a character, especially because he's still unnamed as of yet. We don't actually have a name for him, which I think is really, really interesting. But yeah, it's just sort of seeing how this dank and dreary island is sort of feeding into that grief that he's got, and how that kind of impacts the storytelling as we sort of just casually meander through, because we can't sprint or anything. We just kind of got this walking pace, and it's steady, it's slow and steady. Some really cool like atmosphere and world building as well. I really enjoy that. But yeah, so what we know so far is that his wife, Esther, it is safe to say that she's passed. Hello, anybody here? We can't jump, it's just all zooms. Could this be the ship he was talking about last time with all that like Greek yogurt? Was it Greek yogurt? There was a yogurt, I'm aware. But look at this atmosphere. Oh, I need to read that. I don't know if I tried.
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
Neither did he eat nor drink. I don't know what that first bit is. Neither did he eat nor drink. Oh, and neither did he eat nor drink. Where is the first half of the sentence? There is no sentence. Unless that in itself is the full one. Yeah. Big old cargo containers. So, he must not be alone on this island. I think that is very safe to say.
I had kidney stones and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
That's sad. But still, there's that kind of... got that eloquence still. And it's just sort of... yeah. It's very interesting.
Is this what Paul saw through his windscreen? Not Lot's wife looking over her shoulder, but a scar in the hillside, falling away to black forever.
I kind of want to fall in the hole. See what happens. Do I?
Come back.
Oh, we got an achievement for that. Awesome. There's a house. Okay, so Paul was referenced last time. He was the guy that he'd gone to Wolverhampton to see, if you remember. And there was that conversation about forgiveness as well. And I think forgiveness is one of those things, I think, especially as you get older, this whole thing of forgiving people becomes a much more poignant conversation. Like, what does it actually mean to forgive someone for whatever transpired.
I've begun my ascent on the windless slope of the western side. The setting sun was an inflamed eye squeezing shut against the light shone in by the doctors. My neck is aching through constantly craning my head up to track the light of the aerial. I must look downwards, follow the path under the island to a new beginning.
Oh, torches on again. Oh, so stables. So I'm assuming at some point this island was very well inhabited. But then also I think due to the nature of what's being discussed here as well with the passing of Esther, how she passed as well, sort of having a life kind of cruelly taken away through the ignorant actions of another. So part of me kind of wonders, is this island even real? Or is this our unnamed narrator's way of himself passing on? Sort of using an island that he is all too familiar with in his subconscious to sort of reach out to Esther before the end, before he passes on, even though she is herself, assumably long since been gone. Yeah. It's very UK countryside. For those of you who aren't in the UK, whenever you go to somewhere like the Peak District, Lake District, anywhere with big, like, foresty fields, a lot of the time, especially when it comes to, like, farmland, people keep, like, sheep and stuff, it's all very segmented into different squares.
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalised into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jacobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either.
The music for this is great as well. And I do love the voice of the narrator. You can still see the boy. Or the buoy. Oh, we're going down or are we going up? I want to go to the house. Up we go. No, this is the second livable structure that we've come across. There's another stable there. You can kind of just see. I love how I've gone off the beaten track completely. I like doing that though. I like investigating, which is why I get very overwhelmed with like open world games. There's another one. Oh, it's here again. Is this? This one isn't like the chemical symbol from like the chemical formula from within the cave. I've forgotten what that like specific format is, but this doesn't look like that anymore. This looks more like plans, maybe for the shepherding. I wouldn't say that's too far-fetched, but no. So we might have to go up that way next. Paint again, and then that's similar to what we saw in the big cave in chapter 1. Maybe we'll find out what it is, maybe we won't. Maybe there's like 2 mysteries here.
When the oil lamps ran out, I didn't pick up a torch, but used the moonlight to read by. When I've pulled the last shreds of sense from it, I will throw Donnelly's book from the cliffs, and perhaps myself with it. Maybe it will wash back up through the caves and erupt from the spring when the rain comes, making its return to the hermit's cave. Perhaps it will be back on the table when I wake. I think I may have thrown it into the sea several times before.
That's an ultrasound. Oh. That's an ultrasound. I have no idea what those are. Oh. You can just sort of feel the story become more and more tragic as we go through. So did our narrator sleep here? Or was this someone else? I think we could assume it was our narrator. Oh. Bad. Another cave. Interesting. Also, one thing I noticed when editing chapter 1 was that when I went into that very first, like, smaller cave, what was that? I don't know, probably. I noticed that the little cave was really dark, and I didn't know how to make it brighter because I edit my videos in iMovie because I didn't have any other way to edit videos. But hey, it's early days. We'll find what works. We'll find, you know, things. How do we... I'm assuming we get in there at some point. There's a beach. There's more cave. Oh, so maybe we snake back up? I love the sound of the wind. I always love it when you get like that really big rainstorm. And it's just like incredibly windy. This path is getting way...
In a footnote, the editor comments that at this point, Donnelly was going insane as syphilis tore through his system like a drunk driver. He's not to be trusted. Many of his claims are unsubstantiated, and although he does paint a colourful picture, much of what he says may have been derived directly from his fever. But I've been here, and I know, as Donnelly did, that this place is always half imagined. Even the rocks and caves will shimmer and blur with the right eyes.
And then we've also got Donnelly as well. There's a lot of, I think, parallels forming between Donnelly and our narrator. That was one thing I found out as well. I don't think the...
They found Jakobsen in early spring. The thaw had only just come. Even though he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose. His fingernails were raw and bitten to the quick. They found the phosphorescent moss that grows in the caves deep under the nails. Whatever he'd been doing under the island when his strength began to fail is lost. He'd struggled halfway up the cliff again, perhaps in a delirium, perhaps trying to reach the Bothy's fire before curling into a stone and expiring.
That's another thing with games like this is you often get interrupted and it's really hard to map out when you're going to speak and when you're going to stop. But there's a lot of parallels and not unnamed, sort of unseen characters, but we kind of, as you play this game, we're sort of walking through their history. There's more caves. This island.
Climbing down to the caves, I slipped and fell and have injured my leg. I think the femur is broken. It is clearly infected. The skin has turned a bright, tight pink, and the pain is crashing in on waves, winter tides against my shoreline, drowning out the ache of my stones. I struggled back to the bothy to rest, but it has become clear that there is only one way this is likely to end. The medical supplies I looted from the trawler have suddenly found their purpose. They will keep me lucid for my final ascent.
Huh. So, we're going to go in there in a second, but I want to go... Yeah. I think I might be slightly becoming more right as we go through about what this island could really be. it's just sort of, I love a good mystery. So I probably will play Everybody's Gone to the Rapture at some point. Oh, he really did. Oh. How would you survive you probably could survive a fall like that. Not without great risk, like he's just said. But yeah, this is... becoming increasingly more sort of reaching that point of, is he dead? Or is he still just clinging on just for that last little bit? It's become quite sort of become a lot darker than I thought maybe. But alas, we ourselves have no legs as we wander through. So there is some oil lamps left. Oh no, it's just a candle. Oh. If anything, I thought we were heading up, not... Oh. Oh.
Did Jakobsen crawl this far? Can I identify the scratches?
So that is chapter 2 of Dear Esther. If this one felt shorter, but then again there are 4 chapters I believe, so I'm doing an episode per chapter still. But yeah, I mean I'm really enjoying this game. I think it is definitely one of those games where it's like, because of the fact that it's a walking sim, it's more based on the fact that you're going to have an experience and you're going to partake in a story, and I'm a sucker for a good story and good atmospheric storytelling. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. If you liked it, if you like the fact that I'm a bit louder today, please do like the video and potentially subscribe if you want. Yeah, no, this is just fun. This is chill. Yeah, subscribe if you want. Make sure you've got notifications if you want to be aware of when I resurface. But yeah, thank you ever so much, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.